Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Foreign Correspondents Club of Japan for this. Welcome to the Foreign Correspondents Club of Japan for this very important press event of one humanitarian side of aspect. Tragedy is unfolding. So today, I'm Manzurul Haq. I'm former president of the club, and our today's guest speaker is Zhao Min Htut. All of you are aware of what is happening in Myanmar and Bangladesh these days, that more than 500,000 refugees have crossed over border and taken shelter in Bangladesh, which is not a rich country and which cannot afford so many influx of people, but country has opened the door because it's a humanitarian crisis. If door is closed, those people will be killed and vanished. So more than 500,000, which is almost 50% of total Rohingya population. That means an ethnic cleansing is going on over there. That gross violation of human rights, genocide, and ethnic cleansing. And unfortunately, world is responding very slowly to this. And perhaps because not much is known what is happening there. That's why we today invited our guest speaker, who himself is from that part of Myanmar, and himself is a refugee, and he's Mr. Zhao Min Htut. And please welcome him to this event. And Mr. Zhao Min Htut is Executive Director of Rohingya Advocacy Network in Japan. And he has decided to address this press event after we have one press event before, where Myanmar ambassador was justifying the policy of his government. So he thought that it's better to have a view from the victim side. And we invited him to speak over there. So I'll not prolong my introduction. So you'll hear from him firsthand what is going on over there, and then we'll have floor open for Q&A session. Mr. Zhao Min Htut. Yes. Thank you. Yes, okay. Thank you. Will you speak sitting?
No, I'm standing. I'm standing.
Standing?
Yeah, standing will be much better.
Is podium over here?
Yes.
Okay.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm really grateful for having me here at the Foreign Correspondent Clubs of Japan. I'm really appreciate it. Thanks again for giving me this opportunity to speak on my suffering Rohingya people. Last 12 October, I saw the FCCJ YouTube channel, and I saw the Myanmar ambassador to Japan, former military officers Turin Tenzing was speaking in this stage. I listened from beginning to end of all his view. Actually, it was not his own view, I think. It was his military government's policy on Rohingyas he was explaining to the journalist here. I saw most of his facts was not correct, so I want to make sure it is correct to the international community. That is why I approached to the FCCJ. Otherwise, there will be some kind of the misunderstanding on the Rohingya problem. He has spoke about the Rohingyas' history. At the beginning, he said Rohingyas have been brought up to today's Rakhine states by the British in the British colonial era. It was totally wrong. Rohingyas have been there for centuries and centuries before that time. Before that place was called Rohang. And the people who have been living in that Rohang, they called it Rohingya. For example, in Japan, it is the Japan. The people who are living in Japan, we call it Japanese. For example, people living in America, we call it American. The same way, the people who have been living in Rohang, it calls the Rohingya. Actually, the Rohingyas have been settled in today's Rakhine state, dated back to 788 AD, historically. The historical evidence proves the Francis Buchanan of the Spain, he noted it in 1795. Mohammedans because today's Muslims, who have long been settled in Arakan and who call themselves Rohingya, or natives of Arakan. It is the historical facts. I bring here a lot of the historical books, and this is the books I have written myself in 2001 in Japan. I collected a lot of Rohingyas historical evidence in these books, and I want to present it to the Myanmar ambassador Turin Tenzing to study thoroughly and fairly without any prejudice or hatred. And under the British colonial era, in 1935, there was an election in Myanmar, and the Rohingya had been participated in that election. And again in 1947, the nation's father, Boshok Aung San, today's the Aung San Suu Kyi's father, held the National Assembly to draft the national constitution. In that assembly, 2 of the Rohingyas have been elected. I'm just giving you some point to understand how Rohingyas have been participated in the nation building, today's modern Myanmar nation building. This, before the Arakan, that was a Rakhine kingdom, before 1784. That time, Rakhine Buddhist and the Rohingya Islam people have built that country. For more than 350 years, both together ruled that country. After the invasion by the Myanmar, King Budopaya, today's Arakan became a part of Myanmar. Today's Myanmar's leaders, especially the military leaders, are saying Rohingyas came to our country from Bangladesh. It is totally wrong. Rohingya didn't came to Myanmar, but Myanmar people came to Rohingya's place. It should not be forgotten by the Myanmar leaders. Myanmar got independence. Let me tell you, he said there was only 135 ethnic minority groups in Myanmar, not included the Rohingya. So I will explain these things on the 1982 citizenship law. One more thing he said, in 1942 there was an incident fighting between Rohingyas and Rakhine people. Of course, yes. But he said in a one-sided story. In that time, in the British colonial era, Rohingya has been scattered around all Rakhine State. In Rakhine State, there are 17 townships. There are 17 townships in Rakhine State. Rohingyas have been in all over the state. But in 1942, when there was power vacuum, British are withdrawing, Japanese armies are coming in. That time in Rakhine State there was power vacuum for a few months. Taking that advantage, in the southern part of Rakhine State, the Rakhine people attacked on the Rohingya people, and the Rohingya retaliated in the northern part. Where the Rakhines are majority, they killed a lot of Rohingyas. Where the Rohingyas were majority in northern part, they killed the Rakhine people as well. I don't say Rohingyas are sane. Rohingyas are also the human being. But he's saying Burmese people are sane. They never do anything wrong. In that incident, almost 80 to 100,000 Rohingyas have been killed. Almost 300 Rohingyas villages have been burned down in southern part of Rakhine State. At the same time, in northern part, I don't know exactly, some of the Rakhine people have been killed as well. So this was the major incident happened between Rakhine and Rohingya people. It was in 1942. Because of power vacuum, there was no one to rule the country. When the British are withdrawing, the Japanese militaries are coming in. It was in the Second World War. That kind of incident have happened in other places in the world as well. So after that, in 1948, Myanmar became independence. And in 1947, they have the constitution. According to constitution, 1947 constitution, the people who have been living till the Myanmar independence, all are recognized as the citizen of that country. According to 1947 citizenship, 1947 constitution. And 1948 to 1962, it is Myanmar's recent history. 1948 to 1962, there was democratically elected government in Myanmar, headed by Prime Minister UNU and Ubasui. That 14 years, Rohingyas have enjoyed their ethnic rights and the human rights as well. Rohingyas have been recognized from the country's elected government and parliament as one of the ethnic group of the country, and Rohingyas have participated in nation building, involving in the parliament, and even in 1961, one of the Rohingya became cabinet member of Prime Minister UNU. Is it Rohingyas' history? And at the same time, Rohingyas have been given the opportunity to broadcast their language from the ethnic, from the radio station, from the ethnic program. And also, in Rangoon University, the famous Rangoon University, there was the Rohingya Student Association, registered with the Rangoon University. So there are a lot of evidence like that. Rohingyas have been always in the Myanmar's parliament till 2014, before the 2015 election. Consecutively, Rohingya had the right to vote and to be elected as well. And unfortunately, in 1962, the xenophobic nationalist dictator Ne Win came to power with the military coup. He has started to drive out from Rangoon and from the big cities the foreign origin people. Some like the Indian, Pakistani, and the other Westerners, and confiscating their all properties. Just kick them out. It was in 1962. And no any foreigners was left in the country. And he was, from the beginning, he was a nationalist and the xenophobic. And in 1976-77, he has started a violence operation on the Rohingya people. And violently he attacking the Rohingya people and raping the women and arresting the people and putting in the jail. And that time, about 300,000 Rohingyas have fled to Bangladesh as refugees. After the intervention of international community and the Bangladeshi government intervention, those people have been repatriated in 1978-79. That time I was 6 or 7 years old. I still remember the people are coming back. And that time he promised to the Bangladeshi government with the MOU, and he will recognize those people are Myanmar citizens. But he never kept his promise. And in 1982, he made a very master plan to wipe out Rohingya people. Those plan is today's military government is implementing practically. I can say practically implementing. That is the master plan in 1982 they draw up by the dictator Ne Win with the collaboration of the Rakhine academics who was the passed away late Dr. Ajo and Dr. Mong Mong. They provided him some advice to do this thing, and they draw up 1982 citizenship law. This called, there are 135 ethnic groups are recognized in that 1982 citizenship law. Before 1982 citizenship law, there was 144 ethnic minority groups, including Rohingya. And they deleted Rohingya's name from the groups. They said only 135 groups of the ethnic people are the citizens of this country automatically. Who are not listed in 135, they are not the citizen of this country. That's it, 1982 citizenship law. But that citizenship law was not implemented till 1989, when I was 17 or 18 years old in my home. It is my own practical experience I am sharing with you, sir. And we, all the Rohingya people, applied for the new citizenship cards. And we hand over all our old ones. My family, my father, mother, my grandfather, grandmother, everyone who are 18 years old that time, we applied. All the Rohingyas applied, but they withhold those things till today. They didn't give us, and they took away our all old documents. And again, 1991, they started again the violence attack on the Rohingya people, saying illegal immigrant checking. So all Rohingya become illegal immigrants without any kind of documents. All our documents have been taken away. And again that time, more than 250 Rohingyas have fled to the Bangladesh as the refugees. And in 2003, again with the Bangladeshi government, and they sent repatriated back to Myanmar, and they didn't give any kind of the documents. And again, in the late 1990s or early 2000, they started to issue the white card, temporary resident card. Locally, we call it white card. It doesn't mention anything about the citizenship, but Rohingyas have no option. They took it. And still they are going on. And I myself in Japan, I opposed to the UNHCR about that things. It is nothing, just they are putting us in a trap. Till Rohingyas are going, since 1990s, Rohingyas have put into an open prison. The modern days concentration camp, something like that. You know what they did? They, first of all, they restricted their movement. They restricted their education, their health care, their job finding, their business, their religious freedom, even their marriage. Even their marriage. They cannot get married freely. So the people lost everything. People doesn't have any future, something like that. But in 2008, the military government draw a constitution that constitutional assembly, referendum assembly, Rohingya people have again led to vote. Rohingya voted for that referendum. And again in 2010, they held an election. Rohingya get the right to vote and to be elected. In 2010, the USDP governments, they led the parliament. There were 4 Rohingya parliamentarians sitting in the parliament till 2015 election. Those people are still alive, some in Myanmar still. But before the election, when the Aung San Suu Kyi in 2011 by-election, or the Aung San Suu Kyi and her NLD entered into the parliament, and the people supported her, but the military has the tricky idea to disturb, to destabilize the country, and they started the problem in Arakan State. Rohingyas are very soft target. Rohingyas are very convenient to make a target, to destabilize the country. Today we become a scapegoat for the Myanmar's power struggling. So Rohingyas' lives are very precious. When all the Rohingya people have died, Myanmar become a real democracy, believe me. So Myanmar leaders want those things, I think. So in 2012, giving an excuse of a woman raped and murder case, it is a criminal case. Whoever did these things, he is a criminal. Even he is whoever he is. So the government must take the action, legal action on them. But instead of taking the legal action, they started attacking all the Rohingya population in the central parts of Rakhine State, especially in Sitwe, Mrau, Chaukto, Pokto, Ratera, and killed hundreds of Rohingya people, burning down more than 25 Rohingya villages, and drive out all the Rohingya from the city center to the paddy field, make them in the IDPs. Now they are passing through more than 5 years without shelter, without the proper humanitarian assistance. And again, Myanmar government has very successful violently attacking on the Rohingya people. They drive out all the Rohingya people. And again, they started to attack to the international INGOs who are assisting with the humanitarian aids to the Rohingya people. Maybe you know very well, MSF was attacked. MSF, the office was attacked. MSF, the staff was attacked. And all the international INGOs have driven out from the Rakhine State. And again, they tried to start again in Mongdo, in Dushiradeng, killing too many Rohingya people. And unfortunately, after the 2015 election, Aung San Suu Kyi got some kind of the heat from the international community. She has started to thinking about to solve this problem, and she invited Kofi Annan and formed a commission, 3% from the outside, 6% from the Myanmar, 3% from the Rakhine community. Even they make a commission to recommend to the government what should do with the Rakhine problem. And from the beginning, Myanmar military and USDP, former government, former military officers, and the Rakhine people, Rakhine political parties, are strongly opposed on the street, in the parliament, in everywhere. Opposed not to form this commission, because they know this commission, if this commission formed, everything will be revealed by the commission, because they are very highly qualified people. And Aung San Suu Kyi, she never listened to the opponent, and she go forward. And it was in August 2016. And after 1 month, suddenly We got the news, some of the Rohingya youths attacked on the police post on 2016, October 9, and killing 9 police people. We are really regretted. Whoever lost their lives. And Rohingya people have been shocked. How comes? Who did these kind of things? And Myanmar military government, military and police forces, together with the extremist Rakhine vigilantes, started attacking the Rohingya people.
Yes, okay. No, continue. Before.
Yeah, okay, I'll finish it. And too many people have been killed. More than 1,000 people have been killed. 1,000 people have been arrested. Hundreds of Rohingya women have been raped. Children have been put into the fire even. When they touch the houses, the people inside the houses are running away and they shoot the people. And more than 25 Rohingya villages have been abandoned, including my own house. In that incident, one of my second cousins have been killed. It is my own practical, the experience I am sharing with you. You should not do that like that, but I'm a little bit emotional when my people get killed. I cannot be silent. Nobody hired me to come and to tell about my people's suffering. It is a genocidal process. It is the genocidal last stage. This genocidal stage was started since 1978. It is the last stage. Their policy is to drive out the Rohingya people out of the country. And even the United Nations experts visiting there and interviewing the victims in Bangladesh. And they said it is a genocide. It's a textbook example of ethnic cleansing. Even the France president at the UN General Assembly, he declared it is a genocide. If it is not a genocide, please tell me what is this? Please tell me what is this? Killing the whole community. Driving out more than 1 million community. And forcing them to take NVC card. It has become a very big problem with the Rohingya people. And we know what is the NVC cards. NVC cards means, first of all, you take these NVC cards and you agree, I am not from here. I am from outside. And if you want to stay in this country, you can apply for the citizenship. And they will verify it. Who? Myanmar government will verify it. And if they agree, you will give a citizen of the country or naturalized citizens. So it becomes a very big issue for the Rohingya people. Rohingya people are not eager. They are not interested in this NVC card because Rohingya people, we are saying, our generations and generations have been living in this country. We are already the citizen of this country. Why we need the NVC cards? Before you give us the temporary cards, promising us, giving us the citizenship cards, you didn't give the citizenship card and you withdraw their things, and again you started a new process. We don't know how long it will take. So we are not getting these things. Now today, who are living in the country, they are forcing, blocking their aids, blocking their foods, and announcing in the loudspeaker to go Bangladesh if you don't accept the NVC cards. It is the way. The remaining people, already more than 600,000 are in the Bangladesh, remaining are forcing to go to the Bangladesh. Killing the children. Now in the Bangladesh camps, more than 15,000 Rohingya orphans without the parents. Children, more than 15,000. So where are their parents? They have been killed or they have been put in the jail. They will be killed in the jail as well. So please, it is a genocide, I want to say. It is really a genocide. So it is the 21st century. We already witnessed in 94, 95 in Bosnia and Rwanda how it can happen again in 21st century in front of the international community. I want to appeal to the international community, please save my people from the hand of genociders. Myanmar military, who is responsible is General Min Aung Hlaing and his collaborators. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Htut. Thank you. And now, floor is open for Q&A session. And please raise your hand, and when you're identified, come forward and also give your identity before asking the question. And please, at the beginning, just remain one question at first, maybe at the end. Pio, please, yes.
Thank you for your presentation. The issue is a very old one, but the last tragedy started from this August attack in Rakhine State. Do you have any direct information, or what are your personal feelings toward that attack? Who did it? Why did it? And who are these self-proclaimed Arakan Liberation Army? Are they Rohingya?
Thank you very much. When August 25th, last August 25th incident was happened, I was not in Japan, neither I was not in Myanmar, I was in Saudi Arabia. And I was waiting for the Kofi Annan Commission on 24th in the hotel, in Saudi Arabia, in hotel. From my mobile, in the 24th in the evening, I saw the report, the Kofi Annan report, and I was so happy. And I contacted some of my fellow friends in the other countries, and I said, you have to study this thing properly or something like that. I was so happy, and I was sleeping very peacefully. From the early morning of 25th, I again opened my mobile, and I saw some of the very shocking the news, attacking more than 30, the police post, by the Rohingya people, the news were spreading to the world. And I was a little bit wondering, how comes on 24th of the Kofi Annan Commission recommendations come out presented to the President and the State Councillors in the early morning of 25th, how comes the attack coming in? Since 2016 incident, in 2017, almost 1 year, there was no that kind of attack happen. How comes in the day of the Kofi Annan Commission? I was a little bit wondering about that. And one more thing, before I left Japan for Saudi Arabia, I have the information and I got the news from the ground. Before 1 week before, there were more than 2,000 or 3,000 military personnel have been discharged to Rakhine State by 4 helicopters and 2 gunships to Rakhine State before 25th August incident happened. Yeah, so it was a pre-planned incident, not the suddenly happened, I think. Even though there was the Rohingya people have been involved, I doubted those Rohingya people are not the interest of the Rohingya people. Might be someone using for some interest. I don't know exactly, but I know some of the Rohingya people. And at the same time, I also think the young Rohingyas youth are, especially youths are very desperate. They don't have the future. Becoming adult, 20, 25, 30 years old, no future in the country. Might be they think if we attack the police post or the military post or something like that, maybe the government will give us serious attention to our plight. Maybe they talk like that. So I contact a lot of the contact on the ground, but nobody can give me the exact answer who did these things. So we got a lot of the information on the so-called ARSA, A-R-S-A, Arkan Salvation Army. Arkan Rohingya Salvation Army. It might be the desperate Rohingya youths are doing this kind of things. I think it should not given the collective punishment to the innocent Rohingya people because of the wrong deed by the ARSA. I believe. Thank you very much.
Okay, please, yes.
Siegfried Knittel, freelancer from Germany. We met us 2 years ago at your office, and I have made an interview. So my question today is, how do you see Aung San Suu Kyi's role? Is she a puppet of the military, or is she someone who thinks I think some report about her personality. She is a very strong person and following a kind of a long time strategic plan to modernize Burma, and then she thinks on the long way something happened, and a lot of people perhaps will die until we come to this kind of modern Burma. How do you think? Is she only a puppet, or has she a long time strategy?
I am one of the inspiration of Aung San Suu Kyi. I have a lot of respect for her from the heart, from the bottom of my heart. I really respect her. She is really a qualified, sincere leader for us. But in the case of Rohingya, she cannot overcome, I think she cannot overcome the military power. As I said before, there are the power struggling in the country. There are two governments in our country right now. Most of the people said, oh, Aung San Suu Kyi is the state councillor, the Myanmar become a real democracy, and it will be really good for the business or everything. But it is wrong information. Believe me, it is wrong information. Aung San Suu Kyi wanted to develop the country, to modernize the country from the beginning. But it is the obstacle by the Myanmar military. As you know, Myanmar military are very powerful. So she is trying to negotiate or to what you call it,
appease.
To appease the militaries. But in Rohingya cases, I'm wondering how comes she trying to cover up military's atrocities on the innocent Rohingyas. She is a Nobel Peace Prize winner. Everyone in the world are look up to her. So in the 19th September, I heard one thing, and again 12 October in this place, Myanmar ambassador says, there is no any human rights problem in the country. Is it funny for you, or is it shameful for me? Is it really funny? Myanmar, the whole world is saying, United Nations is saying, Myanmar has the grave human rights problem. Now today, in front of international media, he said there is no human rights problem in the country. I was shocked. How comes this kind of a statement he can give irresponsibly? So there are a lot of human rights problems, not only on the Rohingya people. I'm saying, if you go to the Kashing state, if you go to the Shan state, if you go to the Shin state, you see the Shin problem, you see the Kachin problem. There are a lot of human rights problems. All are generated from the army, from the military. So you need to understand how the military is powerful in the country. Without military's permission, Aung San Suu Kyi cannot do anything. I think like that. But still she wanted to develop the country. She wanted to give the people a future, a good future. But military is the main obstacles. But on the Rohingyas case, for a lot of people, she becomes a collaborator with the military.
Okay, floor is open again. Anyone would like to ask question? Meanwhile, I have one question.
Yeah.
As people might get ready for the next question.
Okay.
What is Aung San Suu Kyi's attitude to Kofi Annan Commission? Because she formed the commission, and commission submitted the report. And how she is dealing with the report now?
I think she immediately issued a statement from the State Consular Office, accepting, and she was so happy on the reports. She agreed almost all the recommendation. But the problem is to implement. How to implement these things. When she going to implement the recommendations, I think the Myanmar military leadership and the Rakhine nationalists will oppose her. For example, in the Kofi Annan Commission, the main issue he said was to amend the 1982 citizenship law, which is contradictory to the international citizenship law, international community. He strongly recommend to end, but till today, nobody is talking about that. Nobody is talking about that. I think she will try to implement some very small things to show the world. Oh, I am doing. Now she's also saying, now I am doing, just starting to implement the Kofi Annan Commission, because when she is speaking about the Kofi Annan Commission, international community say, yeah, good. But the problem is, when she is going to implement these things, the Myanmar military and Rakhine nationalist political party and the Buddhist monk, let me say one thing here. The military is now hiring the Buddhist monks, not the Buddhist real monk. Now the Myanmar has the nationalism is very high, the highest level in the world now, nationalism in the country. And they are also using Buddhist monk, so-called monk, not real monk. Buddhists never teach to do violence to other people. But today's Myanmar's some monks are openly teaching hatred. You see, let me give you an example. After August incident in the Rakhine state, nobody is allowed to go. Even the United Nations officers, even the ambassadors in the Myanmar, nobody is allowed, given the security concern. The security concern, you are not allowed to go there. No any media are allowing. No humanitarian groups are allowing to assist. But monk Wiratu, the Burmese Buddhist Bin Laden, he was escorted by military to visit to Rakhine state in Mongdo and Butidong, and he inflaming the hatred. So these people are obstructing the Aung San Suu Kyi. She cannot get the point to implement the Kofi Annan. It will be really a difficult task for her.
Okay, now again, floor is open. Yes, Gebert, please.
Gebhard Hilscher, also a journalist from Germany, but already very old, so I'm, shall we say, I was never in charge of covering Burma or Myanmar, so I have a lot of questions to ask if I wanted to know more about it. But where do you think, what is the root of the discriminatory behavior by the military vis-a-vis you, and why do you think your current country's president is more or less covering up the situation which you are describing, which reminds me of what the Germans did to the Jewish people centuries, this earlier in this last century. So is it just racialism, or is it religious an element, or is it just a power struggle? Where do you see the real motive why they're trying to get rid of you, so to speak?
The current military have the very the current military leadership have been trained by the former military leadership. They are still following the ideology. There are not only problem with the Rohingya people with the military. They have the problem with the Kashmir people, Karen people, and the other Shing people and Shan people, and with the other people as well. On top of that, Rohingyas becomes very soft targeted. So if Rohingya, they can get rid of the Rohingya people, they think it will be a very good moral support they can garner from the mass public people, the majority Burmese people. So they are playing some kind of the religious issue, and some are playing with the ethnic issues, and on top of that, the political issue is more important. Politically, they doing this kind of things. So, regarding the civilian leadership, they know their position very well. They know their power, how much they can do. So they don't want to confront with the military leadership. My analysis. They, for example, the Aung San Suu Kyi and NLD leadership, they don't want to confront with the military leadership. So they want to peacefully transfer the country into the real democratic. But it is not. It will not be easy. It will be. I think it is a wrong decision. For me, it is a wrong decision. It should not go to like that. It will not go to the goal.
Pio, you wanted one more?
A part of the government of Bangladesh, who's doing a lot nowadays. The Prime Minister of Bangladesh has put at stake her own international credibility in order to at least temporarily host your people. I come from a country, Italy, where we are at the center of the migration issue, you know. And what strikes me as, I'm not a Christian, I'm atheist, but what's closer to Buddhism, I would say. But what really wonders me is why no other Muslim country, because you're Muslim.
Yeah.
Where is Muslim solidarity? Where is Muslim help for these people? I mean, those people that have taken the sea in the past has not been able to be harbored by any country. Not in Indonesia, not in Malaysia, not they're staying there at disposal of sharks and pirates. And in Bangladesh, I know right now there are several international voluntary organization, like a part of a UN, but they're like MOAS of Malta, Emergency and Médecins Sans Frontières. But I'm not hearing of a strong commitment by the international Muslim community. So are you a pariah even for Muslims?
I don't think so.
Okay.
First of all, I want to stand up and give my big salute to the Bangladeshi people and the Bangladeshi government and the Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina.
Thank you.
I really appreciate their hospitality, their help, their opening heart and everything. At the same time, as you asked me, we are not the pariah for the Muslim countries. But as you know, most of the Muslim countries are in the Middle East. Their plate is already full with their own problem, I think. And regarding the Malaysia and Indonesia, they are not doing enough to help the Rohingya people, because they are member of the ASEAN community. So they have to look their own interests as well. It is our bad luck. If everybody is looking into their own interest, so who will see vulnerable people's interest? I don't think we are burdened for this world. We are the human being as you and everyone. We are not the burden. But people, the countries have their own interest and their own policy and their standard. For example, United States, even the Secretary Tillerson, he said it is the responsibility of the Myanmar military leadership of this genocide or the ethnic cleansing. He declared it. When you compare with the Japanese foreign ministry's the statements, I bring it for you here. So it is the different country has different policy and a standpoint and view on these things. I'm not saying the government is not doing anything, but they're doing something. But it is not enough. As a government, a strong government, a big government, and the ASEAN, the biggest, the democratic government and the wealthiest country, Japan has a lot of leverage on the Myanmar, giving a lot of the ODA and the other assistance, and they have the strong point to stop this kind of the atrocities. But Japanese government is not playing that role at all. Even last month, I visited to the foreign ministry and we spoke more than 1 hour with the Japanese foreign ministry, and we appeal again and again to them. But their statements, when we see their statements, and we are very upset on that. So we need to work more harder and to convince the Japanese government to take a leading part to solve the 21st century is the biggest humanitarian crisis in the world going on. How can you be silent like this? Giving the $4 million donation for the refugees, not enough. You need to get some political message to give to the Myanmar military and the others. You must stop this kind of the atrocities on the innocent people. I am not taking part with the bad people who commit the crimes, killing a person, whoever is a crime, right? But for example, if I did a crime, and you giving the punishment to whole my family is not a fair thing. Now the Rohingya people are suffering in this kind of punishment, collective punishment. It is a very good point for the international community to stop this kind of things, So when you are, some people are talking about now the Bangladesh government, the Home Minister is visiting today or tomorrow to Myanmar to talk about the repatriation. I think it is not very premature, because the situation is still very volatile in the country, in Myanmar. How you repatriate those people? Those people will not come back. They are really frightened. They are still threatening to kill all the people. How comes? Okay, if you put the UN peacekeeping forces on the ground to protect the people, the security and everything, so the people will come back. And you know the Myanmar government, when the people left to the country, Bangladesh, they started talking about, according to the Myanmar law, when some building is burned on, the land become the national land, not the ownership. So it is the Myanmar law. They are starting talking about this thing. So 300 Rohingya villages have been burned on it, everything. So people know there. So the property land are becoming the state government lands. So when the people are coming back, where they will stay? Where they will stay? They are trying to put all in IDP camps and forcing every single one to take the NVC cards. First, you confess yourself, you are Bengali. Second, you are from Bangladesh. You are trying to get the citizenship in this country. So the people are not accepting these things, and they are threatening again and again on that point.
Okay, one last question from Japanese journalist, if there is any question, because a lot of things talked about Japan. Any Japanese? Yes, please.
He's a professor. He's a professor.
Koji Igarashi, I'm freelance. And I've been wondering what kind of relation you Rohingya refugee people in Japan have had with the Burmese refugee community in this country. Do they show, at least some of them, show some kind of understanding or sympathy toward your difficulties or not?
Thank you very much, Sensei. It is a very hard question, Sensei, you asked me. Since I came to Japan, I have a lot of Burmese friends who worked together with me for the Burma's democratization and human rights for everyone since 1999. I have very close friends even. But I don't know what is the main reason exactly. The Burmese community people are not collaborating, not cooperating with us. And they are not letting us even to cooperate with them. So most of the Burmese community in Japan as well, they think their opinion are the same as the Myanmar military. I can say Myanmar military's position and the community in Myanmar are almost the same. They see us as outsiders. So even when I was not here, some of the international people, including with our Rohingya community members, went to demonstrate in front of the Myanmar embassy against the Myanmar government to stop these atrocities and genocide. And some of the Myanmar community members came to the place at the demonstration and tried to stop the demonstration even. So they don't want even to give us free expression even in Japan. They want to restrict the freedom of the expression even in Japan. So I feel really regret to say about my colleagues, my former colleagues, my friends. Even some friends I have a few words speaking, but not like before. I don't know what reason behind that. So these books, when I show you at the beginning, this was not the hobby to writing. It was forced by some of my Burmese friends to write these books. When I came to Japan, there was some of my friends asking about the Rohingya's history, and I said Rohingya's history like this. And he said, you know very well these things, and you compile all the documents and make books. It will be good for us to study about the Rohingya people. And with the encouragement of my Burmese people, Burmese friends, I wrote these books in Burmese language to study in the Burmese easily about the Rohingya's history. So those friends even don't want to talk to my Rohingya people. This is very regrettable.
Okay, thank you very much. Our time is now over. And here we end today's press conference. Thank you, and once again, thank you, Mr. Htut, and for this very encouraging speech. And we all wish Rohingya problem to be solved amicably. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you for joining.